Would mindfulness work on physical illness as it does on mental illness? If the answer is positive, how does it work? In modern medicine, it has long been held that mind and body are separate and that they do not influence each other. The word placebo seems to symbolize such a contention. Can you comment on that?
Well, for a long time, for hundreds of years, since the time of Descartes, at least in the European and American sphere and modern Western medicine, the mind and the body were thought to be separate, and there was thought to be very little evidence for the mind influencing the body. Of course, cardiologists knew that wasn't true because you could get angry and drop dead. So anger produces death. So the anger is mental, emotion, and dead is the body, the whole life. So it's almost obvious that the mind and the body are not separate. But now we know through modern science and brain science and that the mind and the body are not at all separate. And so stress can affect all sorts of things. I mentioned earlier, but didn't talk about it in any detail. Stress actually degrades or increases the rate at which the telomeres at the ends of all of our chromosomes are degraded. So this is a biological sort of measure of cellular aging. And meditation can actually lengthen and repair those telomeres so that you actually potentially live longer. But stress is very toxic. And now we understand that stress is toxic really across the lifespan. It's very, very toxic for a pregnant woman, for instance. In utero, the developing fetus, the biology is affected by intense stress on the part of the mother. There's no question about it. Stress hormones and everything is not healthy for the developing brain. But even when the baby's born, the nervous system is developing for the first 20 years at least, and stress can really impede the full flowering of the central nervous system in the brain and synaptic arborization. And that's really true across the entire lifespan now. So dealing with stress can have an enormous effect on physical health, not just mental health and physical disease. 20 years ago, or more than 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago, I did a study with my colleagues in the dermatology department looking at people with the skin disease psoriasis, which is a rapidly growing cell proliferation on the epidermis of the skin. And it's not cancerous, but it has genes that are similar to genes that are expressed in basal cell carcinoma or skin cancer. And the treatment for psoriasis is to stand in a light box and be irradiated by different wavelengths of ultraviolet light. And so we did a study where we randomly assigned people with psoriasis, either you go into the light box and you just get the light treatment, or you go into the light box and while you're getting the light treatment, you're also meditating. And I made a guided meditation for people to do standing, naked for the most part, in the light box while you're being cooked in this ultraviolet, sort of toaster oven, it feels like. It's intense, very stressful. And what we found was that people who were meditating while they were getting the light treatments, their skin was healing, clearing, getting clear, 4 times the rate of the people who were just getting the light treatment by itself. So this is a mind-body phenomenon that's very difficult to deny, because they're not doing anything in the light box. They're just there, and they're healing 4 times as fast as the non-meditators. All they're doing is paying attention, is cultivating mindfulness of the feeling of the heat on the skin, and also intending for the light to actually slow down the rapidly growing cells in the epidermis. So that kind of study is fairly strong evidence that the mind can actually influence a healing process that you can see and photograph. And we now can think about many different ways in which there might be mechanisms to explain how that would happen. And that's just one example of a number of different kinds of illnesses, physical illnesses, where meditation actually can improve the condition itself. Blood pressure, of course, is another example, that meditation can lower the blood pressure. And it doesn't have to lower it very much for it to be of real biological value to you. Headaches often show dramatic changes, and not just tension headaches, but migraine headaches, where it has to do with blood flow in the brain, and this can be regulated by meditation practice. Low back pain can be, significantly affected by MBSR. Now, it's not just sort of quiet meditative practices or still meditative practices. We also use mindful yoga, which is a movement kind of meditation practice, and slowly over weeks can actually influence the muscular strength of your back and things like that. So I think that the combination of the yoga and the meditative practices, and the yoga is itself a meditative practice, a mindfulness practice, can actually influence a whole range of what you might call physical illnesses.